Hello, my dear friends. Welcome to the episode 7 of Mahabharata Reading Challenge. Congratulations, we are on day 7 today. Okay, so as always, we are starting with the prayers for Hanumanji. Doha from Hanuman Chalisa. Shri Guru Charan Saroj Raj, Nijman Mukur Sudhar, बर नौ रघुवर बिमल जसु जो दायकु फलचार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेस विकार. Knowing that this mind of mine has less intelligence, I remember the son of wind, who granting me strength, wisdom and all kinds of knowledge, removes all my sufferings and shortcomings. बजरंग पान निश्चय प्रेम प्रीति ते विनय करु सन्मान, तेहि के कारज सकल शुभ सिद्ध करे हनुमान. जय हनुमंत संत हितकारी, सुन लीजिए प्रभु अर्ज हमारी, जिनके काज विलम्ब न कीजिए, आतुर दूर महासुख दीजिए. आंखें देखे मोन मुख, सहा कहा नहीं जाए, लेख विधाता का लिखा, कौन किसे समझाए, कौन किसे समझाए. वचन दिया सोचा नहीं, होगा क्या परिणाम, सोच समझकर कीजिए जीवन में हर काम. जीवन को समझा रहा जिया हुआ इतिहास, जब तक तन में श्वास है तब तक मन में आस, तब तक मन में आस. आस कह रही श्वास से धीरज धरना सीख, मांगे बिन मोती मिले, मांगे मिले न भीख, मांगे मिले न भीख. है कथा संग्राम की, विश्व के कल्याण की, धर्म अधर्म आदि अनंत, सत्य असत्य कलेश कलंक, स्वार्थ की कथा परमार्थ की. शक्ति है भक्ति है, जन्मों की मुक्ति है, जीवन का ये संपूर्ण सार है. युग युग से कण कण में, सृष्टि के दर्पण में, वेदों की कथा अपार है. धर्मों की गाथा है, देवों की भाषा है, सदियों के इतिहास का प्रमाण है. कृष्णा की महिमा है, गीता की गरिमा है, ग्रंथों का ग्रंथ ये महान है. महाभारत महाभारत महाभारत. सुख करता दुख हरता, वार्ता विघ्नाची, हो वार्ता विघ्नाची, नुरवी पूर्वी प्रेम कृपाया जायाची, सर्वांगी सुंदर उतिशेंदुराची, हो उतिशेंदुराची, कांति जालके माला मुक्ता फलहांची. जयदेव जय मंगल मूर्ति, जयदेव जय मंगल मूर्ति, दर्शन मात्रे मनोकामना पूर्ति. जयदेव जय मंगल मूर्ति, हो श्री मंगल मूर्ति, दर्शन मात्रे मन कामना पूर्ति. जयदेव जय मंगल मूर्ति. On the day 6, we remembered Vishnu or Krishna with his 16 names. So think him as Vishnu while taking medicine, as Janardhan while eating food, as Padmanabha while in the bed, as Prajapati at the time of marriage, as Chakradhara while engaged in war, as Trivikrama while on travel, as Narayana on deathbed, as Sridhara while meeting with the beloved, as Govinda while tossing the bad dreams, as Madhusudana while in trouble, as Narsimha while in the forest, as Jalasayana while fire is ravaging, as Varha while struggling in water, as Raghunandan while lost in a mountain, as Vamana while on the move, and as Madhav while doing everything. Today we are invoking day 7 with a bhajan which is so beautiful. You can listen this on YouTube. It's ये तो प्रेम की बात है उदो. It's for Krishna. ये तो प्रेम की बात है उदो, बंदगी तेरे बस की नहीं है. यहाँ सर दे के होते हैं सौदे, आशिकी इतनी सस्ती नहीं है. प्रेम वालों ने कब वक्त पूछा, उनकी पूजा में सुन ले ए उदो. यहाँ दमदम में होती है पूजा, यहाँ दमदम में होती है पूजा, सर झुकाने की फुर्सत नहीं है. जो असल में है मस्ती में डूबे, उन्हें क्या परवाह ज़िंदगी की. जो उतरती है चढ़ती है मस्ती, वो हकीकत में मस्ती नहीं है. जिसकी नज़रों में है शाम प्यारे, वो तो रहते हैं जग से न्यारे. जिसकी नज़रों में शाम प्यारे, वो तो रहते हैं जग से न्यारे. जिसकी नज़रों में मोहन समाए, वो नज़र फिर तरसती नहीं है. तो जिसकी भी नज़रों में कृष्ण जी हैं, वो नज़रें कभी भी तरसती नहीं हैं. जिनकी नज़रों में हैं श्याम प्यारे, वो तो रहते हैं जग से न्यारे। जिसकी नज़रों में मोहन समाए, वो नज़रें फिर तरसती नहीं हैं। Okay friends, we have already covered around 36 chapters in 6 days. So today is the day 7 and we are going to read until, let's see, let's select the color also. Here is some light color. Let's have a violet. Let's see. Bhima and Hanuman. I am no crane. It's too dark. Let's see. This is still better. The wicked are never satisfied. Duryodhana disgraced Shri Krishna's hunger. I think we can have, or maybe the enchanted pool. Let's see. So we have to read from chapter number 37, Bhima and Hanuman. Let's see. Okay, let's get started. Bhima and Hanuman. Draupadi used to complain frequently. This Kamyaka forest is not beautiful without Arjuna. So they were staying in the Kamyaka forest. And it's not beautiful without Arjuna. I find no joy in life in the absence of Arjuna. The other Pandavas shared Draupadi's wretchedness at separation from Arjuna, who had gone to Himalayas in quest of divine weapons. So we already know that he has acquired divine arms from Lord Shiva. We have read it previously. Okay. Bhimasena told Draupadi, "Blessed lady, I myself feel the same about Arjuna, and what you say makes me thrill with love and sympathy. Bereft of Arjuna, this beautiful forest seems desolate. My mind can know no peace without seeing Arjuna." Sahadeva, how do you feel? So we already know that Bhima was complaining to Yudhishthir that and there was Sri Krishna, like he was telling that even Sri Krishna would not be able to help us if we have lost Arjun, because we are dependent on him. So we have had already seen his anxiety and nervousness in the previous chapters. Okay, so he again, because now Draupadi is lamenting and Bhima is also again, "Blessed lady, I myself feel about the same about say I myself feel the same about Arjuna, and what you say makes me thrill with love and sympathy. Bereft of Arjun, this beautiful forest seems desolate. My mind can know no peace without seeing Arjuna." And he asked his other brother Sahadev, "How do you feel?" Sahadeva said, "This hermitage seems to be empty without Arjun. We shall try whether a change of scene will help us to bear the pain of separation better." So they are thinking of maybe going to some other place. Dhayumya said, "I have sent my younger brother Arjun to win divine weapons. The dauntless and dexterous hero has not yet returned. We have sent him to the Himalayas to get from Indra, the king of gods, weapon with which we could conquer Bhishma, Drona, Kripa and Ashwatthama, since it is certain that this heroes will fight on the side of sons of Dhritarashtra." Wait, what is he saying? Dhyumya said, "I have sent my younger brother Arjun to win divine weapons. That dauntless and dexterous hero has not yet returned. We have sent him to the Himalayas to get from Indra, the king of gods, weapon with which we could conquer Bhishma, Drona, Kripa, and Ashwatthama, since it is certain that these heroes will fight on the side of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Karna knows the secret of divine weapons, and his supreme wish is to fight with Arjun. I have sent Arjun to gain Indra's grace and get weapon from him, as the Kauravas heroes can be defeated by no other means. Having sent him on a very difficult errand, we cannot live here happily, for we miss him in all our accustomed haunts. I wish to go elsewhere, for that may enable us to bear the separation better. Can you suggest where we could go? Dayumya described many forests and holy places. The Pandavas went the round of those places to relieve themselves to some extent from the pangs of separation. They spent many years in the pilgrimage and in listening to the traditions which sanctified each shrine. Draupadi would often feel exhausted by having to traverse mountains and forests. Bhima, sometimes helped by his son Ghatotkacha, would serve and encourage them and make their labors easy. In the course of their wanderings through the Himalayan region, they came to a terrible forest where the path was rugged and steep. Yudhishthir was worried and told Bhima that the way would greatly distress Draupadi, but that he himself would go on, accompanied by Nakula and the sage Lomasa. He suggested that Bhima and Sahadev should stay behind at Gangadwara with Draupadi. Bhima would not agree. He said that the pain of separation from Arjun ought to have taught his brother how much he would suffer if he was parted from Sahadev, Draupadi, and Bhima. Besides, Bhima could not leave Yudhishthir alone in the forest infested with Rakshasa, demon, and wild animals. The way was hard, but he could easily carry Draupadi across most difficult parts of it. How could he could carry Nakula and Sahadev also? When Bhima said these words, Yudhishthir embraced him and blessed him and wished him an increase of physical strength. Draupadi smiled and said, addressing Yudhishthir, no one need carry me. No one need to carry me. I can walk. Do not be anxious about me. They reached Kulinda, kingdom of Subahu on the Himalayas. They accepted the honors rendered to them by that king and rested there a while. Later on, they went to the charming forest of Narayana Ashrama and halted there. One day, a breeze that blew from the northeast wafted a beautiful flower near Draupadi. Draupadi took it in her hands and was so charmed with its fragrance and beauty that she showed it rapturously to Bhima. Come and see this flower. What a sweet fragrance. How charming. I shall hand this over to Yudhishthir. Bring some flowers of this kind. We should grow this plant in our Kamyaka forest. Draupadi ran to give the flower to Yudhishthir. Anxious to please his beloved Draupadi, Bhima went in quest of the plant. He went alone in the direction from which the fragrance seemed to be borne by breeze. Without wasting a thought on the wild beast that crossed his path, he presently came to the garden of plantain trees at the foot of mountain, and there he saw a huge monkey shining like blazing fire, which lay right across his path, blocking it. He tried to frighten the animal out of his way by shouting at it. So he saw a monkey, huge monkey, shining like a blazing fire. He tried to frighten the animal out of his way by shouting at it. It only half opened its eyes lazily and drawled, I am indisposed, and so I am lying here. Why did you wake me? You are a wise human being and I am a mere animal. It is proper that the rational man should show mercy to animals as interior creatures. I am afraid you are ignorant of right and wrong. Who are you? Whither are you bound? It is not possible to go further along this mountain path, which is the path of the gods. Men can cross this limit. Eat what you like of the fruits of this place, and if you are wise, go back in peace. Bhima unused to being taken so lightly, grew angry and shouted, "Who are you? Yourself, you monkey, that indulges in such tall talk? I am a Kshatriya hero, a descendant of the Kuru race and a son of Kunti. Know that I am the son of the wind god." We are invoking the son of the wind god, Hanumanji. Now move away from the path or stop me at your peril. Hearing these words, the monkey merely smiled and said, "I am, as you say, a monkey, but you will come to the destruction if you try to force away." Bhima said, "I do not want your advice, and it is no concern of yours. If I go to destruction, get up and move out of the way, or I will make you." The monkey replied, "I have no strength to stand up, being but a very old monkey. If you have to go at any cost, jump over me." Bhima said, "Nothing could be easier, but the scriptures forbid it. Otherwise, I should jump over you and the mountain in one bound, like Hanuman crossing the ocean." So, Bhima himself is telling this monkey, where is this monkey? The very old monkey, that the scriptures are have forbidden for this jump. Otherwise, I would have jump over you and mountain in one bound, like Hanuman crossing the ocean. The monkey remarked as though in surprise, "Oh, best of men, who is the Hanuman who crossed the ocean? If you know this story, enlighten me." Bhima roared and said, "Have you not heard of Hanuman, my elder brother, who crossed the ocean 100 yojnas in breadth to seek and find Sita, the wife of Rama? I am equal to him in strength and heroism. Well, that is enough talk. Now get up and make way, and do not provoke me to do you some harm." The monkey answered, "O mighty hero, be patient, be gentle as you are strong, and have mercy on the old and weak. I have no strength to rise up, as I am decrepit, decrepit with age, decrepit, decrepit with age. Since you have scruples in jumping over me, kindly move aside my tail and make a path for you." Proud of his immense strength, Bhima thought to pull the monkey out of the way by its tail. But to his amazement, he could not move it in the least, though he exerted all his strength. Okay. He set his jaws and strained every muscle till the very sinews cracked, and he was covered with perspiration, but still could not move that tail the least, a little bit up or down or sideways. In shame, he bent down his head and then asked in chastened mood, "Who are you? Forgive me, and reveal to me whether you are a Siddha, god, or Gandharv." Bhim, like most strong men, was all respect when he saw one stronger than himself, and spoke like a pupil addressing his master. Hanuman replied, "O mighty armed Pandava, know that I am your brother, even that Hanuman, the son of wind god, whom you mentioned a little while ago. If you go on this path, which is the road to the spirit world, where the Yakshasas and Rakshasas abide, you will meet with danger, and that is why I stopped you. No man can go beyond this and live. But here is the stream with the depths where you can find Sugandhika plant, Saugandhika plant that you come to seek." Bhima was transported with delight. "I count myself the most fortunate of men, in that I have been blessed to meet my brother. I wish to see the form in which you cross the ocean." And he prostrated before Hanuman. Hanuman smiled and began to increase the size of his body, and stood forth firmly to the world like a mountain, seeming to fill the landscape. Bhima was thrilled at actually seeing that the divine form of this elder brother, the mere description of which had till then filled him with wonder. He covered his eyes, unable to bear the dazzling light radiating from that figure. Hanuman said, Bhima, in the presence of my enemies, my body can grow still more. And Hanuman contracted his body, resuming his former size. He tenderly embraced Bhima Sena. Bhagwan Vyasa says that Bhima felt completely refreshed and became much stronger than before by the embrace of Hanumanji. Hanumanji said, O hero, go to your abode, think of me whatever you are in, think of me whenever you are in need. See, Hanumanji is saying, O hero, go to your abode, think of me whenever you are in need. I felt the same delight when I embraced you that I had in times of yore when I was fortunate enough to touch the divine body of Sri Rama. Ask any boon that you like. Bhima said, Blessed are the Pandavas, for I have had the good fortune to see you. Inspired with your strength, we are sure to conquer our enemies. Hanuman gave these parting blessings to his brother. While you roar like a lion in the battlefield, my voice shall join yours and strike terror into the hearts of your enemies. Oh, that's nice. I shall be present on the flag of the chariot of your brother, Arjuna. You will be victorious. See, Hanumanji himself told or give this boon to Bhima that I shall be present on the flag of chariot of your brother Arjuna. You will be victorious. Hanuman pointed out to Bhima the stream nearby where grew the Saugandhika flowers he had come to seek. This put Bhima at once in mind Draupadi, who was waiting for his return, and he collected the flowers and returned to her without delay. So that's how Bhima met Hanumanji. I am no crane. Once the sage Markandeya came to see the Pandavas, Yudhishthir happened to talk of the virtues of the fair sex and said, What greater wonder is there in the world than the patience and the chastity of woman? She gives birth to a child after cherishing it in her womb as dearer than life itself. She brings it into the world in pain and anxiety, and thenceforward her one thought is for its health and happiness. Large hearted and forgiving, a woman forgives and continues to love even a wicked husband who neglects and hate and subject her to all sort of miseries. How strange. That is also very beautiful paragraph where they are talking about the woman and their love. What greater wonder is there in this world than the patience and chastity of woman? She gives birth to a child after cherishing it in her womb as dearer than life itself. She brings it into the world in pain and in anxiety, and henceforward her one thought is for its health and happiness. Large hearted and forgiving, a woman forgives and continues to love even a wicked husband who neglects and hates and subjects her to all sorts of miseries. How strange. Hearing this, Markandeya told him a sacred story. So Markandeya Rishi told Yudhishthir a sacred story. Let's hear this. There was once a Brahmana named Kaushika who observed his vow of brahmacharya with a great steadfastness and devotion. One day he sat under a tree reciting the Vedas. A crane perched on the top of the tree defiled his head with its droppings. He looked up at it. His angry look killed the bird and it fell down dead. The Brahmana was pained when he saw the dead bird lying on the ground. How frightful it would be if wishes fulfilled themselves, if each hasty or angry wishes took effect at once. How much there would be regret or repent afterwards. It is lucky for us that wishes depend on outward circumstances for accomplishment, since that saves us from much sin and sorrow. Kaushika sorrowed that evil thought that passed in his mind in a moment of anger had killed an innocent bird. Sometime later, he went as usual to beg alms. He stood before the doors of a house to receive his dole. The housewife was cleansing utensils at that time. Kaushika waited in the hope that she would attend to him after her work was over. In the meantime, the master of the house returned tired and hungry, and the wife had to attend to his wants, wash and dry his feet, and serve him with food. In this preoccupation, she seemed to have forgotten the mendicant waiting outside. After her husband had been cared for and fed, she came out with alms to the mendicant. She said, I am sorry to have kept you waiting long. Pardon me. Kaushika, burning with anger, said, Lady, you have made me wait for such a long time. This indifference is not fair. The woman told the Brahmana, Best of Brahmanas, kindly do forgive me. I was serving my husband and hence the delay. The Brahmana remarked, It is right and proper to attend on the husband, but Brahma, Brahmana also should not be disregarded. You seem an arrogant woman. She said, Be not angry with me and remember that I kept you waiting only because I was dutifully serving my husband. I am no crane to be killed by violent thought, and your rage can do no harm to a woman who devotes herself to the service of her husband. The Brahmana was taken aback. He wondered how the woman knew of the crane incident. Oh, she continued, O great one, you do not know the secret of duty, and you are also not aware that the anger is the greatest enemy that dwells in man. Forgive the delay in attending to you. Go to Mithila and be instructed in the secret of good life by Dharma Vyadha in living in that city. The Brahmana was amazed. He said, I deserve your just admonition, and it will do me good. Admonition. I deserve your just admonition, and it will do me good. May all good attend you. With these words, he went to Mithila. Kaushika reached Mithila and looked for Dharmavyada's residence, which he thought would be some lonely hermitage far from the noise and bustle of common life. He walked along magnificent roads between beautiful houses and gardens in that great city, and finally reached a butcher's shop in which was a man selling meat. His amazement was great when he learned that this man was Dharmavyada. The Brahmana was shocked beyond measure and stood at a distance in disgust. The butcher suddenly rose from his seat, came to the Brahmana and inquired, Revered sir, are you well? Did that chaste Brahmana lady send you to me? The Brahmana was stupefied. Revered sir, I know why you have come. Let us go home, said the butcher, and he took the Brahmana to his house, where he saw a happy family and was greatly struck by the devotion with which the butcher served his parents. Kaushika took his lessons from the butcher on dharma, men's calling and duty. Afterwards, the Brahmana returned to his house and began to tend his parents, a duty which he had rather neglected before. The moral of this striking story of Dharmaveda, so skillfully woven by Vedvyasa into Mahabharata, is the same as the teaching of Gita. Men reaches perfection by the honest pursuit of whatever calling falls to his lot in life, and that is really worship of God who created and pervades all. Man reaches perfection by the honest pursuit of whatever calling falls to his lot in life, and the really that is really worship of God and created God who created and pervades all. Oh, that is very nice. The occupation may be one he is born to in society, or it may have been forced on him by circumstances, or being may have taken it up by choice. But what really matters is the spirit of sincerity and faithfulness which he does his life's work. the spirit of sincerity and faithfulness. Ved Vyasa emphasizes this great truth by making a scholarly Brahmana who did not know it learn it from a butcher who lived it in humble and despised life. The wicked are never satisfied. Many Brahmanas visited the Pandavas during their exile, and one such returning to Hastinapur went to see Dhritarashtra, who received him with due honor. The Brahmana told him how the Pandavas' born prince were by unkind destiny at the mercy of the wind and the sun and suffered great privations. Dhritarashtra was probably sorry to hear this, but what troubled him most were the consequences to his own son. Could Yudhishthir continue to hold the justly wrathful Bhima in check? Dhritarashtra feared that the anger of Pandavas long pent up might one day break its bounds and overflow in devastating flood. The king anxiously pondered thus: Arjuna and Bhima will certainly try to punish us. Shakuni, Karan, Duryodhan, and the short sighted Dushasan are perched and precariously up a tree in search of honeycomb, while below is the abyss of Bhima's anger yawning to receive them to their destruction. The blind king pursued his thought, alas, why did we become a prey to covetousness? Covetousness, covetousness, covetousness. It is not as though poverty drove us to it. Why did we take the path of injustice? Instead of enjoying our boundless wealth in contentment, we scrambled to lust of power and possession and coveted what was not ours. Wrong cannot but yield its bitter harvest. Arjuna has returned from heaven with divine weapon. What could tempt one back to earth from heaven but the craving for vengeance? And we have earned it. These thoughts would haunt and give him no peace. Though Dhritarashtra was thus worried, Shakuni, Karna, and Duryodhan were giddily happy and found much pleasure in exulting congratulations of one another on their prosperity. Karna and Shakuni said to Duryodhan, the kingdom which was in the hands of Yudhishthir has become ours. We need no longer burn with jealousy. Duryodhan replied, O Karna, all that is true, but would it not be a joy of joys to see with my own eyes the suffering of Pandavas and bring their sorrows to a climax by a display of our happiness? The only way to perfect our happiness is to go to the forest and see the distress of Pandavas, but my father will refuse permission. And Duryodhana shed tears at his father's cruelty in denying him this pleasure. He said again, the king fears the Pandavas as he thinks that they are endowed with powers of austerities. He forbids us to go to the forest and meet them, lest danger should befall us. But I tell you, all we have done so far is labor lost, without a sight of suffering of Draupadi, Bhima, and Arjun in the forest. This life of idle ease is torment to me without the great joy. Shakuni and yourself must seek a way of obtaining the king's consent for us to go to the forest and see the Pandavas in their misery. Early next morning, Karna went to Duryodhan with a cheerful face and announced what he had found a way that he had found a way out of the difficulty. He said, what do you think of going to our ranches at Dwaitavana for the annual stock taking of the cows? The king certainly not cannot object to that. Shakuni and Duryodhana applauded this bright idea and sent the leader of the cowherds to the king to secure his permission, but the king would not assent. He said, "Hunting is indeed beneficial to the prince. It is also desirable to take stock of the cows, but I learned that the Pandavas are dwelling in the forest. It is not advisable for you to go there. I cannot agree to send you to a place near the abode of Bhima and Arjun while there is still occasion for anger and strife." Duryodhan said, "We shall not go near them. On the contrary, we shall be very careful and avoid them." The king answered, "However careful you may be, there is a danger in mere nearness. Also, it is not right to intrude on sorrows of the Pandavas in their forest life. Any one of your soldiers might trespass and give offense, which may lead to trouble. Someone else can go in your stead to count the cattle." Shakuni said, "O King, Yudhishthir knows and follows the path of Dharma. He has given his promise in the open assembly, and Pandavas will follow his bidding. The son of Kunti will not show any enmity towards us. Do not oppose Duryodhan, who is fond of hunting. Let him return after taking stock of the cows. I shall also accompany him, and see to it that none of us go anywhere near the Pandavas." The king, over persuaded as usual, said, "Well, please yourselves. A heart full of hate can know no contentment. Hate is cruel fire which extorts fuel on which it lives and grows." Duryodhan Duryodhana disgraced. Okay, we are going to read until Sri Krishna's hunger. Okay. Duryodhana disgraced. The Kauravas reached Dwaitavana with a great army and many followers. Duryodhana and Karna went with unconcealed joy at the very thought of being able to gloat on the sad plight of Pandavas. They themselves camped in luxurious rest houses in place 4 miles of the abode of the Pandavas. They inspected the herds of cow and took stock of them. And counting the cows, bulls, and calves, they enjoyed the dance, the hunt, the sil- Sylvan sports, and other entertainments arranged for them. While hunting, Duryodhan and his party reached an attractive pond near the hermitage of the Pandavas and ordered a camp to be put on its bank. Chitrasena, the king of Gandharvas, and his attendant had already encamped in the neighborhood of the pool, and they prevented Duryodhan's men from putting up their camp. They returned to Duryodhan and represented that some pretty prince who was there with his followers was giving them trouble. Duryodhan was annoyed at this presumption and directed his men to turn the Gandharva prince out and put up the tents. The attendants returned to the lake and tried to carry out their orders, but found the Gandharvas too many for them and had to retreat in precipitation. When Duryodhan came to know of this, he grew very angry and with a large army marched to destroy the audacious enemies who had dared to resist his pleasure. A great fight ensued between the Gandharvas and Duryodhan's army. At first, the fight went in favor of Kauravas, but the tables were quickly turned when Chitrasena, the king of Gandharvas, rallied his troops and began using his magic weapons. Karna and other Kauravas heroes lost their chariots and weapons and had to retreat in haste and ignominy. Duryodhan alone remained in the battlefield, but he was soon seized by Chitrasena, who placed him in his chariot, bound hand and foot, blew his conch in token of victory. The Gandharvas took many of the prominent Kauravas captive. The Kauravas' army fled in all directions, and some of the fugitives took refuge in the hermitage of Pandavas. Bhima heard the news of Duryodhana's defeat and capture with delight and amusement. He said to Yudhishthir, "These Gandharvas have done our job for us. Duryodhan, who must have come here to mock at us, has got what he deserved. I feel like thanking our Gandharv friends." But Yudhishthir reproved him. "Dear brother, this is not the time for you to rejoice. The Kauravas are our kith and kin, and their humiliation at the hands of stranger is ours. We cannot hold back and take this lying down. We must rescue them." Bhima did not think this very reasonable. He said, "Why should we save this sinner who tried to burn us alive in the Vex house? Why should you feel sorry for the fellow who poisoned my food, bound me hand and foot, and wanted to drown me in the river? What brotherly feeling can we really have towards this vile wretches who howled Draupadi by the hair to the assembly and disgraced her?" At that moment, a cry of agony from Duryodhan reached them faintly from the distance, and Yudhishthir, greatly moved, overruled Bhima's objection and bade his brothers go to rescue of the Kauravas. Obedient to his behest, Bhima and Arjun rallied the routed Kauravas' forces and offered battle to Gandharv. But Chitrasena had no wish to fight with Pandavas, and at their approach released Duryodhan and the other prisoners, saying that all he wanted was to teach a lesson to these arrogant Kauravas. The dishonored Kauravas returned in haste to Hastinapur with Karna, who, having been driven off in the battlefield, joined them on the way. Duryodhan, in great shame and dejection, felt it would have been far better if he had been killed by Chitrasena, and announced his wish to fast unto death. He said to Dushasan, "Be crowned and rule the kingdom. I can no longer continue to live after having become a laughing stock to my enemies." Dushasana protested his unworthiness to be a king and caught hold of his brother's feet and wept. Karna could not bear the sight of his brother's sorrow. Karna said, "This doer not befit heroes of the Kuru race. What is the use of just collapsing under sorrow? It will but make your enemies happy. Look at the Pandavas, they have not taken to fasts in spite of the disgrace they have suffered." Shakuni interposed and said, "Listen to the Karna's word. Why do you say that you would give up your life when the kingdom seized from the Pandavas is yours to enjoy? Fasting serves no purpose, for if you really repent of what you have done till now, you should make friends with Pandavas and give them back their kingdom." So Shakuni interposed and said, "Listen to the Karna's word. Why do you say that you would give up your life when the kingdom seized from the Pandavas is yours to enjoy? Fasting serves no purpose, for if you really repent of what you have done till now, you should make friends with Pandavas and give them back their kingdom." When Duryodhan heard this speech, his evil nature regained ascendancy. For giving back the kingdoms to Pandava was to him 100 times worse than defeat or disgrace. He shouted, "I shall conquer the Pandavas." Karna said, "This is the way for a king to talk," and he added, "What sense is there in dying? You can do something worthwhile only if you are alive." While returning home, Karna said, "I swear to you by all that is holy that when the stipulated period of 13 years is over, I will kill Arjun in battle." And then he touched his sword in token of oath. See, they are waiting for that 13 years to pass, and then they are actually waiting for the war, basically. Shri Krishna's hunger. While the Pandavas were dwelling in the forest, Duryodhan celebrated a great sacrifice with much pomp and splendor. He wanted to perform the Rajasuya sacrifice, but the Brahmins told him that he could not do that while Yudhishthir and Dhritarashtra were alive, and advised him to perform the sacrifice known as Vaishnava instead. He accepted this advice and celebrated the Vaishnava with great splendor. But when the ceremony was over, the citizens began to talk among themselves that Duryodhan's sacrifice had not come up to even a 16th part of Yudhishthir's Rajasuya. in magnificence. The friends of Duryodhan, on the other hand, praised him and the sacrifices he had celebrated and likened it to those performed by Yayati, Mandita, Bharata, and others. Court flatterers were not sparing with their praise. Karna told Duryodhan that this Rajasuya had been only postponed till the Pandavas should be defeated and slain in battle, and repeated that his part would be the slaying of Arjun. Till I have slain Arjun, said he, I shall not take meat or wine, nor will I refuse the prayer of anyone who asks me for anything. Such was the solemn vow taken by Karna in the assembly. The sons of Dhritarashtra were delighted to hear this vow of the great hero Karna and shouted in joy. They felt as if the Pandavas had been slain already. Spies conveyed to the Pandavas in the forest the news of the oath taken by Karna. Yudhishthira was greatly concerned, for he had a great opinion of Karna's prowess. Karna had been born with divine armor and was undoubtedly a mighty hero. One morning, just before the hour of awakening, Yudhishthira had a dream. Many of our dreams come either in the beginning or at the end of our sleep. He dreamt that the wild beasts of the forest came and appealed to him piteously not to destroy them altogether, but to move on to some other forest. Duryodhan felt sure that the Pandavas, who themselves lived from hand to mouth in the forest, would be unable to feed or entertain the sage and his following, and would incur some dreadful curse from that too hasty visitor for their want of hospitality. This would give him greater joy than any benefit he could have asked for himself when the sage offered a boon. Dhruvasa went with his disciple to the Pandavas as was desired by Duryodhan, as the latter were resting after their midday meal. The brothers welcomed the sage, saluted and honored him. Then the sage said, We shall be back soon. Our meals must be ready then, for we are hungry, and hurried off with his disciple to the river. As a result of the austerities of the Yudhishthira, at the beginning of their stay in the forest, the sun god had given him Akshay Patra, a wonderful vessel that held a never failing supply of food. In making the gift, the god had said, Through this I shall place at your disposal for 12 years as much food as is required for your daily consumption, not till everyone has been served and Draupadi herself has taken her share, while the vessel became empty for the day. Accordingly, the Brahmanas and other guests would be served first. Afterwards, the Pandavas' brother would take their meals. Finally, Draupadi would have her share. When Dhruvasa reached the place, all of them, including Draupadi, had eaten their meals, and so the vessel was empty and denuded of its power for the day. Draupadi was greatly troubled and perfectly at a loss to find food when the sage and his disciples should return after their ablutions. In the kitchen, she prayed earnestly to Sri Krishna to come to her aid and in the hopeless predicament and deliver her from the wrath of the sage. At once Sri Krishna appeared before her. I am very hungry, he said. Bring without delay something to eat, and we shall speak of other things afterward. Here was a pretty pass. It looked as though the ally from whom she hoped for relief had gone over to the foe. She cried out in great confusion, Alas, why do you try me thus, O Krishna? The power of the vessel given by sun is exhausted for the day, and the sage Dhruvasa has come. What shall I do? The sage and his disciple will soon be here, and as though this were not enough, you have also come at this juncture, saying that you are hungry. Sri Krishna said, I am terribly hungry and want food, not excuses. Fetch the vessel and let me see for myself. Draupadi brought it to him. A tiny bit of cooked vegetable and a grain of rice was sticking to the rim of the vessel. Sri Krishna ate them with the satisfaction, accepting them as Sri Hari, the soul of universe. Draupadi was filled with shame at her slovenliness in not having cleaned the vessel free of all remnants. A bit had been left which had been partaken by Vasudeva. Oh my god, Krishna is so wonderful that he can eat that he's eating here remnants of the food which were left, remnant food. Sri Krishna seemed replete with the satisfaction after eating his solitary grain, and calling Bhima told him to go to the river and intimate to the revered sage that the food was ready and waiting for them. Bhimasena, greatly puzzled but full of faith in Sri Krishna, Hare Krishna, faith in Sri Krishna, hastened to the river where Dhruvasa and his followers were bathing. They were in great surprise to find that their ravenous hunger had given place to please satiety, sataishi. They had all the comfortable satiety. They had all the comfortable cheerfulness of people who had feasted well. The disciple told the sage, "We have come here after asking Yudhishthir to prepare food for us, but we feel well fed and full and cannot eat anything more." Dhruvasa knew what it was and he told Bhima, "We have taken our meals. Tell Yudhishthir to forgive us." Then the party went away. The explanation is that as the whole universe is contained in Sri Krishna, his satisfaction with single grain of rice satisfied for the time the hunger of all beings including the sages. I think we are going to do this chapter on day 8. The next chapter, the enchanted pool. Where is the chapter? Yeah. So we are going to do this tomorrow on day 8. So friends, have a very nice day ahead. Thank you for joining me and thank you for reading this with me. I hope you have a great time ahead. Good night, my dear friends. Take care of yourself.